They said she was gone. They closed the casket. They gathered to say goodbye. But one man refused to stay silent. The rain had just stopped when the funeral began, leaving the cemetery wrapped in a thin gray mist that clung to coats and faces. Black umbrellas stood like shadows over the crowd as the casket of Ilara Vaughn was slowly lowered toward the ground. Ilara was known to the world as the daughter of Leonard Vaughn, a powerful billionaire whose name carried weight in boardrooms and headlines. People whispered in disbelief, calling it a tragic loss, a sudden end no one could explain. They said she passed quietly in her sleep. But one person knew that wasn't the truth. Just as the priest raised his hand to give the final blessing, a man in a faded neon green sanitation uniform stepped forward. His boots sank into the wet grass. His jacket was stained. His hands shook. People turned, confused, then annoyed. Who was this man? His name was Rafael Cruz, a street cleaner, invisible to most, ignored by almost everyone. And yet, standing there with his heart pounding, Rafael pointed toward the casket and spoke the words no one expected to hear. "She's not dead." Gasps rippled through the crowd. Before we go any further, if you believe in kindness, courage, and the power of ordinary people to do extraordinary things, please like this video, share it with someone who needs hope, and subscribe to Kindsoul Corner. These stories matter, and your support helps them reach the right hearts. Raphael wasn't used to speaking in front of wealthy families or powerful figures. He lived a quiet life, cleaning streets before sunrise, keeping the city moving while remaining unseen. But Ilara had seen him. Every morning, she greeted him by name. She asked how his day was. She spoke to him like he mattered. When others looked away, she didn't. Raphael told them what happened days earlier. How he found Ilara slumped on a park bench late at night. How her skin was cold, her breathing barely there. How he called for help and stayed beside her, refusing to leave. He remembered holding her hand and feeling something faint, a pulse so weak it came and went. He remembered a paramedic mentioning a rare condition, a state where the body slows so much it can mimic death. But somewhere between rushing protocols and assumptions, that warning was ignored. Raphael had tried to speak up at the hospital. He was dismissed, told he didn't understand, told to step aside, told he was just a sanitation worker. But he never forgot the way her fingers twitched in his palm, like she was asking someone, anyone, not to give up. Now, standing at the edge of her grave, Raphael begged them to stop. He spoke of her kindness, of the stray animals she fed quietly, of the day she defended him when others mocked his job. "I owe her my courage," he said, his voice shaking, "and I won't let her be buried alive." The silence that followed wasn't angry. It was uncertain. Slowly, the priest looked toward Ilara's father. Leonard Vaughn's face was pale, his confidence shaken by the raw conviction of a man with nothing to gain. After a long moment, he nodded. The casket was opened. Ilara lay still, peaceful, unmoving. Raphael asked for a mirror. Someone placed it beneath her nose. Seconds passed. Then, barely visible, a faint fog touched the glass. Chaos erupted. Doctors in the crowd rushed forward. A pulse was found, weak, but real. Ilara was alive. She was rushed away as people cried, collapsed, and prayed all at once. Raphael stood frozen as the ambulance disappeared, his chest tight with hope and fear intertwined. Hours later, in a quiet hospital corridor, Leonard Vaughn found Raphael sitting alone on a metal bench, soaked and shaking. For the first time, the billionaire didn't look past him. He sat beside him. And he said thank you. Ilara had slipped into a rare metabolic coma. If minutes more had passed, there would have been no second chance. Days later, Ilara opened her eyes. The first name she asked for was Raphael. When she learned the truth, she wept and held his hands. "You saved my life," she said. When everyone else stopped looking, her survival became more than a miracle, it became a message. That dignity isn't tied to wealth. That humanity isn't measured by status. That courage often comes from the most overlooked places. Leonard offered Raphael a position, not charity, but respect. Together with Alara, they built programs for people like Raphael, for those who keep the world running while being ignored. And the man no one noticed became impossible to forget. If this story moved you, please like, comment, and subscribe to Kindsoul Corner. We share the stories that remind us who the real heroes are. Before you go, tell us in the comments, what moment in this story touched you the most? Because sometimes, the loudest truth comes from the quietest voice.